So the second last race of the day is with us now on circuit. It's the Toyo Tyres 7 Race Series 1600s, and it will be Gary Smith on pole position, the 22 car, alongside Stuart Bell in the 19. On row 2, it's Don Henschel in the 62 alongside the 47 of Luke Rosewell. Row 3, the 13, Michael O'Reilly alongside Finley Cooper in the 141. Row 4, the 79, Jeff Newman alongside Bren Maud in the 55. Row 5 is Mark Roberts in the 33 alongside Caroline Everett in the number 10. Row 6, the 142 of Ian Fortescue and the 777 of John Styring on that row number 6. On the 7th row, it's Chris Savage in the 27 alongside Ryan Grant in the 24. Rob Warner is next on the 15th slot in the grid, 8th row. The 58 car alongside Ben Roswell in the 17. Row 9 is the 85, Colin Loughlin, alongside Greg Hyatt in the 50. Row 10, Andrew Donaldson in the 77, alongside Paul Wells in the 56. Row 11, Rob Good in the 36, alongside Andy Ebden in the 54. And then the 12th row, the final row of the grid, the 57, Dave Antrobus, alongside John Russell in the 14. So what should be a 24-car grid for this race. It's going to be a half-hour race, just like the one we had for the 420Rs earlier on. And much like the 420Rs, we're expecting a lot of position exchange in this race. Caterham racing typically involves big packs, all exchanging places. Like trading cards on the schoolyard in 2008. So it should be an entertaining race, and I'm looking forward to seeing what can happen here between Gary Smith and Stuart Bell. Smith was 0.2 of a second quicker in qualifying, yes, which by Caterham standards is actually quite a lot. However, of course, with the effect of the slipstream, the small advantages in qualifying are effectively nulled coming into the race. We saw that earlier on in the 420Rs. The front row of the grid both had really quite poor races ultimately. So the full field of sevens heading toward the grid for what I believe is a rolling start, half an hour race. This should be a very entertaining race indeed, as I'm sure many of you can attest from here at the circuit or on the live stream that were here for the 420Rs earlier on. We are, however, just starting to see spits of rain, both on the camera and on my window here in the commentary position. So, I'm not sure whether to expect fighting or walking on eggshells here in the first couple of moments of the race as the cars line up 2 by 2 for their rolling start. We've already got a car spun before the start. That's the 142 car of Ian Fortescue that had a spin. Everyone else is okay. Oh, one car into the barrier immediately. That was the number 24 of Ryan Grant. And well, there's an indicator of what the conditions are like out there at the moment. It's extremely treacherous. The remainder of the field head towards the first corner, and there's some argy-bargy and all sorts going on around the circuit. There's spinning and red flags are out as well, so the race is immediately neutralized and everybody slows down to a creep because these conditions have immediately caused a few issues for a few drivers out there on circuit. That did not look fun at all. We had a few more spins at turn 1, but the red flags are out here at the Donington Park circuit. That was not a good start to the race at all. We had 2 cars spin effectively in a straight line, courtesy of the sudden outburst of rain. These cars are on treaded tyres, but sudden rain is sudden rain ultimately, whether you're on slicks or cut tyres. And you see there the 24 of Ryan Grant just being spoken to there by the marshals. like he was in conversation, which is good news. But the session has been stopped. The race has been red flagged. We'll have to see how long the race is red flagged for. Whether or not we get a full race distance, whether or not the race is shortened, we'll have to wait and see. But certainly that was a dramatic start to this Toyo Tyres 7 Race Series encounter. These 1600s, the slightly tamer of the two cars that the Toyo Tyres 7 Race Series cater for. Albeit tame being an operative, not being the operative word at all. Got some damage on one of the other cars going through shot there as well, and you can see that the rain really has arrived here. It's hardly teeming down, but certainly conditions are suboptimal to say the least. You see the car being craned now. So hopefully shouldn't be too long before we go racing. Still listed on my screen as a 30-minute race. It's just don't see anything from race control confirming that it wouldn't be. A reminder, the scheduled start time was 25 past the hour, so we do have time to play with. The Caterhams look like they're about ready to go. The Toyo Tyres 7 Race Series 1600s will take another stab at the half-hour race. Given we're still about 5 minutes away from when the race was originally scheduled to start, I do believe we're still intending to get the full half hour out of this. The marshals and officials vacate the grids, and we will be joining or seeing the cars go back out on a second formation lap very shortly indeed. We're going to see some three-point turn action here from the safety car, or is the turning circle good enough? Or it was, but I think the drivers decided a three-point turn might be the better solution in the BMW 2 Series. You see there, still seeing occasional wipers from that BMW. No wipers on the Caterhams, which are the telltale indicators of the weather for the other cars. It shouldn't be too long before these cars head off on their formation lap. So the cars head off onto their formation lap. Let's remind you of the grid for this one then. Gary Smith in that 22 car will start on pole position alongside Stuart Bell in the 19. On the second row of the grid, Don Henshaw and Luke Rosewell, 62 and 47. Row 3, the 13, Michael O'Reilly alongside Finley Cooper in the 141. Row 4, Jeff Newman in the 79 and Bren Maud in the 55. Row 5 of the grid, the 33, Mark Roberts, and the number 9, Caroline Everett. Row 6 is Ian Fortescue, who spun trying to start the race a little earlier on. He'll be joined by John Styring in the 777. Row 7 will be Chris Savage on his own, of course, because Ryan Grant was the cause of our red flag just a few moments ago. We've seen that car recovered. Row 8, Rob Warner in the 58 alongside the 17 of Ben Roswell. Row 9, the 85, Colin Loughlin alongside Greg Hyatt in the 50, 85 and 50 on row 9. Row 10, Andrew Donaldson, the 77, and Paul Wells in the 56. Row 11, Rob Good in the 36 and Andy Ebden in the 54. Our last row of the grid set to be Dave Antrobus and John Russell in the 57 and 14 cars respectively. So the safety car lights are out and we're about to go for a rolling start once again for this 30-minute race for the Toyo Tyres race series, the 1600s, about to take to the track for 30 minutes of racing action. We very much enjoyed the 420Rs earlier. They didn't have what I suspect is still a slightly damp surface to contend with. Let's see how they fare here on attempt number 2. It's Gary Smith on the inside, Stuart Bell on the outside. They're fanning out a little bit, and we are underway. Immediately defensive is Gary Smith because of Don Henschel, who was looking lively on the second row of the grid. 3 wide, almost 4 wide into the first corner. All the way around the outside goes Stuart Bell, and well off the track goes Stuart Bell. Trying to find room is Stuart Bell. The leader, though, as they run down towards the first corner, is Gary Smith, and I believe that is Don Henschel behind him. Through the craners, an old hairpin streams the field then. Looks like the remainder of the cars have all got away cleanly there. There is Gary Smith at the head of the pack, though, being followed, I believe, by... In fact, it might be Michael O'Reilly, might it, in that 13 car? I think I could be mistaken saying that it was Don Henschel. We'll have to wait for the timing screen to confirm. But certainly Gary Smith leading the pack, and it's all fanning out and getting a bit dramatic already as they run down towards the Robert chicane for the first time. How's everyone feeling about the grip? It seems that there's a good level of confidence out there among the drivers. It will be Gary Smith that leads across the line, followed by Bell in the 19. It is Henschel in the 62 there in 3rd place, so I was right to identify it as Henschel. He's looking for 2nd place. Can't quite find a way through. He's followed by Luke Rosewell in 4th place in that 47 car. Does feel almost pointless giving you the order corner to corner because it changes all the time, but that's what we're here for, to bring you this... blow for blow, and a little dive up the inside there for 5th place. I believe that was the 55 of Maud making his way up to 5th place. O'Reilly has dropped down then. And there you see the missing wheel arch on the rear right of Stuart Bell's car. Stuart had, I think, a bit of a spin at the first corner on that first start, if memory serves correctly. Here comes the pack down the back straight, and they're fanning out once again. Gary Smith going defensive, Stuart Bell trying to find a way through, and just squeezing for 3rd place there was Don Henschel, so he holds on to P3 for the time being. Now, given the lower speeds of these 1600s, the slipstream isn't quite as potent as the 420Rs earlier on, but as you can see, it's still a very useful tool and one to be used whenever possible. As the 141 car, Finley Cooper there, tried to look to the inside of Maud in the 55 in that battle for 5th and 6th. I believe Cooper has got through there. No, he hasn't, actually. I'm looking at that wrong. He's still there in 6th. Bren Maud, who started in 8th place, currently all the way up in 5th. As maybe looking to the inside there, Stuart Bell, or defending maybe more accurately, from Don Henschel behind as they run through McLean's and onwards to Coppice for the 3rd time. Should note that, as suspected, we are getting the full half hour out of this race because we're now practically perfectly on schedule, whereas before we were about 15 minutes early. Going defensive is Gary Smith. Meanwhile, going to the outside, Stuart Bell. Ooh, I thought that maybe Smith there had glanced the barriers. I'm not convinced he didn't glance the barriers there at the chicane, but it didn't affect him too much, seemingly. It's Stuart Bell, though, that now leads. Gary Smith will have something to say about that, though. Looks to the inside line. Can he find a way through? The answer is no. Don Henschel trying to find a way past, and all the squeeze not quite on there for Henschel. Smith making sure he doesn't lose any more positions, having seen Stuart Bell go into the lead. I believe that that's still Luke Rosewell there in 4th place as well in the 47 car. And there you see the top 6 jostling for position. I think a little tiny bit of contact towards the rear end of the top 6. Fastest lap for Jeff Newman, a 1:18.415. He's running in 8th place towards the back of this queue. There you see Jeff in the blue and yellow with the distinctive yellow roll cage. Can't miss that car in a car park. Stuart Bell goes defensive, and it looks like a move could be on for second here from Don Henschel. It could be a move for the lead. That was a mighty dive, and he's managed to get himself up to second place in that 62 car. However, Gary Smith is going to immediately retaliate and immediately move back into second place. So, oh no, actually he hasn't. My apologies. Henschel going for the lead. Can he make it stick into Redgate? Not quite. Everyone giving each other room just as they run out of Redgate through Hollywood and down towards the Craner Curves. Oh, and contact there between Smith. He's going to lose yet another rear fender on that car. He's not going to have any Caterham left by the end of this if he's not careful. That was, I believe, Gary Smith giving him a little nudge. And all of that has put Don Henschel into the lead of the race. It's Henschel from Smith with his flailing wheel arch there. And in 3rd place, it is still Gary Smith. You're kind of almost willing on that wheel arch to just fall off the car at that point. It's horribly distracting watching it flail around. Up the inside is Henschel. Smith has the nose ahead, but he locks up the brakes quite significantly. I wonder if that has anything to do with the wheel arch tapping away on the wheel. It could well. And look at this. Oh, there goes the wheel arch. Evasive action from some of the drivers behind. Eventually the wheel arch gave way. But already down to 4th place is Stuart Bell. He's just fallen behind, I believe that's Michael O'Reilly. No, actually that's Bren Maud, isn't it? Up into 4th position, 5th position I should say. I want to dive up the inside there. Sorry, though, that's Bren Maud going for 2nd, isn't it? For 3rd, isn't it? My apologies. So Bren Maud is up to 4th place. It's been a very topsy-turvy race so far, but it's Henschel that leads. And, oh, a dive for 2nd from Maud there. So Maud was 3rd and is now 2nd to finally catch up with the race. My apologies. The frantic nature of Caterham racing, sometimes very difficult to keep track of. Henschel is using all of the track and more here, bouncing over the curbs, bouncing over the grass in the 62 car. It is Henschel that leads. And it's now Bren Maud in his wheel tracks. Gary Smith is there in 3rd. And then it's Stuart Bell in 4th place with about half a car left, with both of his rear wheel arches strewn across the countryside. Side by side for the lead once again. And the 62 car is through once again. Don Henschel just about finds a way to keep hold of that lead. I thought Bren Maud might have squeezed him out momentarily. Oh, that was a bit of a dive at the Craner Curves. Really looked to the inside there, did Bren. But did not find the room. I wasn't sure. About 2 into 1 going there. They found a way. Bren around the outside. And actually losing time there, I think just ran it a bit wide. Into 2nd place has gone Gary Smith once more. Bren Maud, oh, bouncing all over the grass. Top 10 practically all together. When is that not the case in a Caterham race, I hear you say, and, well, I do agree. Looking to the inside there is Henschel as Smith manages to take the lead. Bren Maud also getting involved in this still. And they're all fanning out, and big contact there between two of them. That was Finley, I believe, that had the issue there. Finley Cooper in the 141, tagging the back of, I believe, Luke Rosewell. And Rosewell lost his bonnet as well as one of his wheel arches there and ended up just tapping the barrier by the looks of it. They should carry on unabated, but goodness me, that's not a nice place to have a spin. Certainly one that you're assisted in having. Safety car is out, so they've judged that they need to pause the race. And so the race will come to a halt, and there is Rosewell. Luke Rosewell there in the 47 car. Unfortunately, with 1/3 of the race complete, we have a safety car. Unfortunately for Luke Rosewell, he's going to take no further part. So then let's talk you through the order as it stands. A good opportunity to clarify who is where with the safety car. The 22 of Gary Smith is our leader once again, having made his way around Don Henschel shortly before the incident there. In third place, behind Don Henschel in the 62, is the 55 of Bren Maud. Then it's the 19 of Stuart Bell in fourth position. Up into fifth is Jeff Newman in the 79. In sixth place is Michael O'Reilly in the 13 car. In seventh position is the number 9 of Caroline Everett. Eighth place is the 777 of John Styring. Ninth position is the 33 of Mark Roberts, which is where he qualified for this, so consistency is key there. And then the 58 car of Rob Warner, currently in 10th place, having qualified 15th. So I'm not expecting an overly long safety car here. I do suspect it might go on for at least one more lap. I don't think it's going to be a one-lap wonder, but it shouldn't distract from the racing too much. Good to see the 142 car back out there. Just caught a glimpse of Ian Fortescue in the pack. Ian, of course, was the driver that had the initial spin on our first attempt at getting the race started amidst an arrival of rain. So definitely at least one more lap to remove that 47 car, as the snatch vehicle has now arrived for Luke Rosewell. BMW with some more miles on it today, no doubt, at the front of the order. You see there the orange heart on the front bumper of that car. One of many ways we celebrate the Orange Army at every given race weekend. Great job that they've been doing today. I don't think there are many posts that have an easy day over the course of an event at Donington. But it is one of the most fabulous circuits in the UK, principally because it is such a challenge. A lot of drivers prefer it in this national configuration to the GP loop. The Melbourne Loop can be an exciting overtaking opportunity as well. Of course, it was here in 1993 that we hosted the European Grand Prix. One Ayrton Senna realised that a shortcut into the pit lane would actually give him the fastest lap of the race, and so famously He took the shortcut, which you can still see today, just alongside the grandstand here at the main straight. So it's just next to the grandstand here. There's a little cut through that used to be the pit entry for the GP loop. Senna realised that it was about 5 seconds quicker. Did it during the race at full chat before pit lane speed limits were enforced at circuits, and netted himself the fastest lap on the way to a famous result at the European Grand Prix in 1993. Formula One itself has not returned since, despite efforts to bring it here in 2010. Long before the MSV ownership. But it has remained a fixture of a great many international calendars. World Superbikes, of course, here later this year. Over the years since that Grand Prix, of course, we've seen the World Touring Car Championship here, we've seen MotoGP here, the FIA GTs were a regular proponent of the calendar in the 2000s. But some of the best racing you'll see anywhere in the world, from any level of motorsport, comes with these Caterhams, and it shouldn't be too long before we see them running again at full chat, with Gary Smith leading the pack. Smith in the 22 car, you see there, warming up his tyres. We'll have to see whether the lights come off the safety car this time. All 22 of the remaining drivers will be keen to get this race back underway. We've got 13 minutes and 35 seconds left to run here. So it's effectively going to reset into a sprint of a dozen minutes or so. Let's see if the safety car lights are on or off as they come down the back straight towards the Roberts chicane. Unfortunately, they are still on. Looks like we're going to get one more lap under safety car. Bit too late to withdraw the safety car now, I think. So yes, at least one more lap. Would suspect just one more lap, but we'll have to wait and see. So we are going to have about 11 minutes left to go, I think, by the time we get this race underway. It's going to be near as makes no difference, a 10-minute sprint, with Gary Smith heading the order. Don Henschel, who started in the second row, led for a little while there in the 62. I'd expect him to try and elbow his way back into the lead before too long. And it's been a good drive from Bren Maud, who's there in third place. Bren, who's done some Ginetta racing in the past. Fourth place there with no rear wheel arches left, Stuart Bell. Fifth place, of course, is the number 79 of Jeff Newman. Fastest lap of the race actually belongs to the car in last, the 141 of Finley Cooper, who of course was the other party in that collision with Luke Rosewell. Finley Cooper has lived to fight on in this race, while unfortunately both Luke Rosewell and his car are now on the sidelines as disgruntled spectators. The lights are out, and we are about to go racing once again, with Gary Smith leading the way, bouncing over the curbs before they've even officially gone green. We are now racing once again with dead on 11 minutes left to go. And a good start from Smith has given him a gap back to Henschel, who's been swallowed up there by that 55 of Bren Maud. Bren Maud through into second. Stuart Bell on the offensive as well, trying to find a way up into third place at the expense of Bren Maud. But Gary Smith here, with a masterful restart, has maybe not quite broken the slipstream, but given himself a nice little comfortable buffer for the next little while at least. And he'll be praying that Don Henschel and the rest of the field have a little bit of a skirmish now. And if they do, that could give Gary Smith what he needs to disappear off into the distance. Look at the fight there between Henschel and Maud. Maud just about had his nose in second place. They're side by side with Henschel on the inside as they turn through Coppice. Everyone just about making it through in 2x2 formation there. Inside line for Henschel, outside line for Maud, and Stuart Bell wanting to get involved as well. Bren Maud just about reclaims second place there ahead of Henschel. Then it's Bell. And who's that now up into fifth place? Is that O'Reilly? Yes, it is. The 13 car up into P5. Side by side once again between Henschel and Maud. And it's the 62 car through into second place. And he's going to want this fight to stop because up ahead, now 2 seconds clear, is Smith in the 22 car. Smith is disappearing up the road. And once you've broken the toe in a Caterham race, sometimes Bob is in fact your uncle. Almost side by side between the two at the old hairpin though. Bren Maud not giving up and not giving way in the slightest. Don Henschel will be begging for the opportunity to just try and chase Gary Smith, who's absolutely the hare at the front of the order. A 1:17.577, the fastest lap. You saw the graphic on screen there. So Smith setting purple laps with no competition. Everything is coming up Smith at the moment. Field fans out as they run down towards the Robert chicane. Stuart Bell looks to the inside. Bren Maud fires back at Henschel once more. They bounce over the curb. They thoroughly get in each other's way and slither around on the still slippery surface there at the chicane. And look at this, fanning out almost to 4 wide. It's going to be Bren Maud that just about holds on to second. A dive up the inside from Jeff Newman. Goodness me. They just about found room for each other there. Don Henschel and Jeff Newman almost came to blows there. They're still side by side as they run through the craners. Newman has to concede. Don Henschel holds on to third place. And now it could be Bren Maud's opportunity to distance himself from the pack. Although I don't think he's quite far away enough. In fact, absolutely not. Even just on the run to McLean's, it's clear that that is not happening. Bren Maud in second place. Already 3.5 seconds back from our leader, Gary Smith. Smith with that very well-timed restart has pulled off a masterstroke here. Meanwhile, Henschel and Maud once again side by side, and Henschel just locking up a bit there and getting all sorts of crossed up coming through the Robert chicane. Easily done there. Some strange cambers at play around Roberts. And up into third place by the looks of it is going to go Jeff Newman. Dives up the inside. But Henschel is going to fire back. Bren Maud will be egging them all on behind him as he tries to once again break away in second place. Henschel holds on to third for the time being, ahead of Newman. Then in fifth place, I believe that's still O'Reilly. Certainly not lacked action since we went back to green flag conditions. And Henschel really is wringing the neck of his Caterham. There in third position, he's trying to close back in on Bren Maud, I suspect, but those pesky other drivers keep making him defend. Once again, they fan out on the approach to the Robert chicane. Jeff Newman tries for the outside, then the inside, and eventually tucks in behind the 62 of Henschel. Bren Maud has been closed up on there. He's kind of rejoined the pack in that second place now. The slipstream on the run down to Roberts was too much. And Bren Maud has not managed to break away in quite the same fashion as Gary Smith. And in fact, here comes Henschel trying to find a way past on the inside at both elements of the Craner curves, but on neither occasion does it work. Firmly across the curbing there at the old hairpin. Just over 5 minutes left to run, and really anyone in the picture here could be second place at the end. It's going to take quite the Herculean effort to beat the man that just went through camera though, Gary Smith, as the cars come out from behind the crest in this battle for second. It's Bren Maud who started 8th, currently in second place, but he's going to have a wide Caterham to still be there by the time we get to Redgate. He's done half the job, or has he? Because here comes Henschel up the inside and into second place once more. And oh, Newman, he's done very well to keep that in a straight line, but does he keep it off the barriers? Just about. Goodness me, I thought for sure he was going to collect the barriers there. I thought he was going to be in a full rotation as well. Credit to him for still having the car pointing in the right direction as he approaches Redgate. But Jeff Newman has firmly fallen out of that battle now. Some smoke, tyre smoke, coming off the back of the 62 of Don Henschel now. That's nasty, that is. That will rub the tyre down quite quickly. You can see there it's becoming more of a handful by the looks of it, as Bren Maud side by side with O'Reilly, I believe that is. So I think maybe something happened off camera at Redgate while we were looking at the moment for Jeff Newman. And it looks as though Bren Maud's front left tyre is a bit worse for wear as well. It's looking like it's not quite straight and true. I think you can anticipate what kind of collision happened between them, as picking his way through and up into second is O'Reilly in the 13. Bren Maud gets through into third. I do believe these two must have made contact down at turn 1 based on the damage they have. Bren Maud with an issue with his left front and right rear problems for Henschel. Henschel, if he gets to the end of this race, I think he's going to have a bald right rear tyre. Around the outside there goes, I believe that's Roberts in the 33, who we haven't really mentioned. Goodness me, he's sideways there. I think Roberts might actually be the car that had that damage before the red flag, or at the red flag point, and ended up coming back from the pit lanes. If that's the case, Roberts has come from the very back of the order. I can't say for certain, but it was certainly a blue and white striped car. And if so, Roberts has put in a fabulous performance to be up here at the sharp end. While we continue to watch these leading cars, Smith is already 7.1 seconds further up the road. There is Gary Smith. He starts his penultimate lap now. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack comes steaming through now. It's O'Reilly in second place. And notice that the Henschel car has stopped smoking so wildly now. So I think the wheel arch has finally kind of worn itself down, as Roberts has a bit of a skittish moment there and falls back behind Henschel as a result. Oh, I spoke too soon, maybe a little bit on the tyre rub, but it's not as profound as it was. Henschel, oh, with lots of oversteer to contend with once again at the old hairpin. Looks to me as though both O'Reilly and Maud, particularly O'Reilly, are something like secure. in their podium positions. This battle for 4th place continues though, with Roberts currently there in 4th, Henschel looking to the inside as they run through Coppice. Jeff Newman is there. And so is, I believe, Everett in the number 9, who's himself got some appendages flapping in that number 9 car. Had a bit of a mistake there into Roberts, but continues on. Final lap of the race then. O'Reilly doing a great job there in 2nd place. Bren Maud is in P3 and looks fairly secure himself. Through the crane as they go. This field really has kind of spread a little bit over the last couple of laps. Bren Maud under pressure from Roberts, who has cleared the challenge from behind. Some lap traffic to contend with there, but no issues for anybody by the looks of it. Our leader already firmly on the back straight. There he is, Gary Smith, with a masterclass in safety car restarts. Has given himself the advantage, which translates into the win. He will cross the line to take victory. O'Reilly should join him on the podium in 2nd, but who will be in 3rd place as they emerge from the chicane for the final time? It's going to just about be Maud, I think, or no, I'm not sure who got that. That's going to come down to a photo finish, I think. I would say Bren Maud just about got it. The timing screen at present agrees by just 0.08 of a second. However, I'm sure they'll have a look at that and make sure that that's the case. It was a good effort from Mark Roberts, but I think he may have just been pipped to the podium there. Gary Smith didn't so much pip anyone to the victory. He cruised there ultimately. The 22 car driven exceptionally well. Great pack racing before the safety car came out with Gary Smith. Wasn't always at the very sharp end of the order, but was always there or thereabouts in the top 5 pushing on. And you see here there's some of the beeps from the drivers going around. There's Henschel with his rather mangled rear bodywork on the right-hand side of that car. But to finish my point on Gary Smith, great racing before the safety car, and then he took full advantage of that safety car restart and just drove off in the 22. Launched at the perfect time and ultimately finished with 7.2 seconds of advantage compared to the rest of the pack, which is not unheard of in Caterham racing, but it's certainly a rare and significant advantage over the chasing pack. He wins the race, and he gets to talk to Alan Hyde.
Certainly does, and just getting the gloves off, and it gets chillier as the afternoon continues. Off comes the helmet, the balaclava, and I wonder, is Gary going to pop out of the car, or oh no, I can come down and join you because then I can lean by the exhaust, which is nice and warm. Absolutely brilliant use of the restart, Gary. That really worked in your favour, didn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how to play it, and I just thought I'd get it from the last chicane and just go. And they were caught napping, I think. So
the key with Caterham's is breaking the toe. You did it to perfect effect. I want to take you back to the first start when the little drops of rain came really just at the wrong point, didn't they?
Yeah, straight into turn 1. I think the whole car snapped sideways, and yeah, I didn't know where I was going to go from there. But obviously it was straight red flag, so we didn't get to find out. But
And then safety car during the race, you have to keep the concentration. You never quite know how long it's going to be.
Yeah, I was looking at the car down on there. The guy looked okay and he was pushing it back, so just trying to judge when they're going to call it in. So
exactly.
trying to keep everything warm and ready to go.
I tell you what, it's just as well that you got that little advantage, because behind you, what a battle.
Really, was it carnage?
Just wonderfully close.
Yeah, no, I was part of that for the first part, and it was intense.
It was superb, absolutely brilliant. Well done, many congratulations, and thanks for talking to us, Gary. Gary Smith, a winner down in pit lane.
Big congratulations to Gary Smith on a very well played race there in the Toyo Tyres 7 Race Series 1600s. He finished ahead of Michael O'Reilly, Bren Maud on the podium, Mark Roberts and Don Henshaw rounding out the top 5 ahead of Jeff Newman, Caroline Everett, who did well there to come home 7th, Stuart Bell eventually fell back to 8th place, John Styring and Rob Warner rounding out the top 10. Chris Savage, the man from Fareham, taking 11th place. Big congratulations to him, my new neighbour, as it were, and hello to his sister, who I know is watching as well. Andrew Donaldson in 12th, Ian Fortescue in 13th. Finley Cooper recovered to 14th after being knocked to the back with that collision earlier in the race. Paul Wells, Colin Loughlin, Ben Roswell, Greg Hyatt, Andy Ebden and Dave Antrobus rounding out our top 20. Rob Good in 21st crosses the line ahead of John Russell, who finished a lap down. Luke Rosewell, the other party in that collision with Finley. And of course, Ryan Grant didn't take the start in our second running of that race after his incident on the main straight at our first attempt at a start. But that's it for today, at least, for the Toyo Tyres 7 Race Series. Still one more race to come for us, though. We'll be back with you in just a couple of seconds with the final race of the day from the Porsche Club Championship.